Okay, so categorical data visualization can be broken up into two different ways to visualize this type of data. So with categorical data, we know that these are labels. These cannot have some sort of number sense. You can, but typically in this class, we're just gonna keep them as is. Um, there's many ways you can try to visualize them. We're gonna choose two different ways, which is bar charts and pie charts. A bar chart is probably the most easiest way to do this. So if you look at this bar chart, you can see that my x-axes in this case are the type of movie that my students like. So they range from action, drama, horror, movie, romantic comedy, or science fiction. Okay, and this is very basic. There's no numbers on the x-axis. You just have the labels, each of the levels, and then it tells you on the y-axis how many of them did it, prefer that particular category. So, for example, action movie, you can see that 15 people preferred action movie, and there was only 5 people that actually like drama. Okay, so this is very basic to read. Okay, now a pie chart though is sliced into several pieces, and each piece represents a category of the variable. Okay, so I did the exact same thing. It's the same thing as the bar chart, but now I just did it as a pie. So it's a circle, and you can see the percentages of each of the slices of the pie. So here you have a legend. It tells you what the percentage is. So it's also really useful. Now, the only thing about a pie chart is that what about if you had like a whole bunch of different types of categories? Then it'll be really difficult to see. So then a bar chart would actually be a little bit simple to see. So this one can be crazy. Can be crazy if you have a lot of categories. It'll look like a rainbow and it's not pretty. Okay, so these are the two different types. Okay, so let's just do a quick example. Oh, before I get to the example, let me tell you a little bit about misleading graphs when it comes to categorical variables. So here are two different graphs. They're exactly the same thing. Now take a little moment. You can pause the video. Take a moment to see what both of these what is different about them. Okay, and if you see what they both don't have in common, or well, you can see that it's pizzas, hot dogs, and hamburgers. Pizza, hot dogs, and hamburgers. The thing that's different is the y-axis. Okay, and this is very crucial. Okay, and you'll see data like this out there, and this is where you're gonna see you're gonna develop this data eye where you will know that's not right. Now, what's wrong here, and I'll write it in red, is that you see in the right hand side that this one starts with the 0, so this one was good. Okay. Whereas here it started with 950. This is not good, okay? Because graph number 1 is telling you that people prefer hot dogs more than pizza and hamburgers, okay? But notice that if you see the increments, everything's going by 5s, okay? So the difference between hamburgers all the way to pizza, all the way to hot dogs is not really as much as this graph is making it to seem. So it's very misleading, as opposed to graph number 2, where everything tends to be very, it starts from a 0, it has a 0 starting point, and then you can see that there actually is no preference between hot dogs, hamburgers, and pizza. Okay, so just watch out for that. Okay, so here's my question. So in the 2012 General Social Survey, asked its respondents to report their political party affiliation. So the graph shows the results for 879 men. So which political party affiliation has the most men? Okay, so if you look here, you have two different graphs. Now the bar graph, you can see that it's very clear to see which one has the most men. The most men is the one with the highest bar, which in this case is this one. This one's Democratic, not strong. Okay, so this is going to be Dem, not strong. Okay. Now, could you have looked at the pie chart? Of course you could. So Democratic, not strong. Well, that will be this one. Okay. But if you can see, it's kind of difficult to see because, oops, sorry, I wrote down the wrong one. Is this one. Okay. But you can, but still, you can, without a legend, it's really difficult to see how this one compares to everything else. So we would just prefer the bar chart instead. So the political party affiliation that has the most men will be Democratic, not strong. Which political party affiliation had the second highest number of men, and is it easier to determine with the bar chart or the pie chart? Well, we just answered the second part, which is just the bar chart is much easier. Okay, which political party affiliation has the second highest number of men? Well, you can see that in the bar chart. Republican, not strong, is actually the best one. Okay, Republican, not strong, is the second one. Okay, but even then, the pie chart, you can't quite see if it's really Republican, not strong. Okay, or maybe it should be something else with the green one. So this is just a couple little things that you can go ahead and think about. There's not a lot to really say about the categoricals just yet. Right before I end the video, what I want you guys to do, I want you guys to go back to the survey, and I want you to press this graph. Okay, so click on this graph and play around with all of the different types of graphs that are given to you in StackCrunch. So for example, I can click on bar plot with data. Okay, and let's graph the gender data. Okay, so I can press gender and then all the way down press compute, and you'll get a bar graph. So play around with this a little bit so that you can kind of get a gist of how to graph these types of variables. And then this upcoming week, we will go ahead and do an activity on graphs.